Hello, everyone, and welcome to this latest episode of the Para Dressage podcast. This is our Tokyo 2020 review episode, and I'm really glad once again to be joined by Ricky Balshaw, former Team GB silver medalist from Beijing 2008, European medalist, and Channel 4's Para Dressage pundit here in the UK. Ricky, hello, welcome back to the Para Dressage podcast.
Thanks for having me. You missed out my WEG medals and my reigning medals, but don't worry about it. Don't worry, I'm not here to big myself up.
I did, as I was saying that, I was thinking, oh, did you get WEG? Did you get? And then, to be perfectly honest, I thought, oh no, he wouldn't have done.
Yeah,
What's
he's too rubbish for WEG.
I went to one WEG with you in France in 2014. And I don't recall you getting any medals there.
Nah,
so maybe
I shouldn't have brought up WEG.
In Kentucky?
Yeah, did 2010. Thanks for reminding me of the one WEG that I didn't medal, mate. Appreciate it.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm still not over my not winning a certificate in the Egglesfield race when I was 11. Oh God, I've just compared Para Dressage to Egglesfield race. I'm very sorry.
It's all right, mate.
Anyway,
this has taken a swan dive already, hasn't it?
I know. It's gone already. So anyway, welcome back. Thanks for coming. How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired. I was at a gig last night and I didn't get back till about 2:30, 3:15. And I'm going off script here, but this is how prepared I am for this. From the waist up, I look great, but honestly, I've not long rolled out of bed. Check these out for joggers.
Careful.
Oh yes. Oh, check them bad boys out. Oh. I was going to do
business on top, party on the bottom.
Yeah, party down below. I was going to do that newsreader thing where the rumours where you go nothing waist below, but I thought no, I can't do that with Rob. He'll be trying to zoom in.
Steady now.
Oh.
Anyway, so Tokyo. It's 3 weeks now. So today is Saturday, the 18th, I think, of September. So
all day.
The team competition was 3 weeks ago today. I'm a little bit late doing my post Tokyo, but I hope people understand that I had to go back to work. I then was a bit ill for a week or so I'm sorry we're a bit late with this one. But yeah, Tokyo 2020. When you look back on it, what did you make of it?
Oh, it was incredible. I know we're talking about the Para Dressage here, but the whole games was amazing. I got to work in the studio with the Channel 4 guys and girls, and it was great fun in terms of the competition. I mean, you always say sport can bring up random results, and honestly caught me off guard. I know we're going to review things in a minute. So happy to have been wrong.
And I think I know the result you're talking about, but I mean, it was at the Equestrian Centre, which was my experience of it. I'm still not over it, basically. It was just wonderful. The atmosphere was incredible. Even with no people, the atmosphere was still absolutely amazing. You could still tell it was the Paralympics. The city was dressed beautifully. There were Paralympic banners and posters everywhere. It's a cliche to talk about volunteers at the games and how wonderful they are, but I always say that cliches are cliches because they're true. These people were just so lovely.
I don't think that is a cliche, and I think it's really important to talk about the people that are not necessarily on screen. And by that I mean the support staff, the volunteers. I think it's really important. Without that team underneath, you would never see that polished 5 minutes in the arena. So
exactly.
I think it's really. I don't think it's a cliche. I think it's really, really important.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But the astounding thing, obviously above all of that, was just the sheer quality of the sport that we saw in that arena. This was my second Paralympics and about my fourth or fifth big competition that I've been privileged enough to be asked to go and work at. And it just, we say it all the time, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, better and better every single time. And this year was like, we'll talk about freestyle in a minute, but every single freestyle winning score was over 80%. That's never happened at any level,
just amazing standard. Just incredible. And not just the freestyles, that everybody brought their A game. Everybody brought their A game. Just as a sporting event, incredible. Whether you like dressage or not, there are fans, there are not, as there are with any sport. Whether you like it or not, the level of competition, I don't think anyone could not admire that competitiveness and how close it was. all the way through.
And obviously sport brings you some real highs. It brings you some disappointments. When you look back on that whole competition, what didn't happen that you thought might happen?
What didn't happen that I thought would happen, and is probably my heartbreak moment of the games, is when Michael Murphy dropped his rein. My heart broke from I was watching it live. My heart broke. I didn't quite know what had happened at the time, but I could see it was not going right. And then I found out afterwards, as we spoke about before, he was absolutely my wild card to get a medal, and really upset for him. On the plus side of that, how good was that horse? How good to look after him and do that in the atmosphere, and took him on. And Mike's mental game after to take that, recover, come back and nail it on the team day. Yeah, credit where credit's due, because that's not easy. Anyone who's had a bit of a knockback to then come back a day or two later, it was wicked. But that was my heartbreak at the games, and I really felt for Mike and his team that day.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it was we had such high hopes for him, and he was so confident. He was coming into the games off of a couple of really big scores at Hartbury, where he beat Sophie Christensen for the first time and all that kind of thing. Really, really devastated that I think the top came off of his second rein or something, and he just lost control of it. And
I think he has like little attachments that he can hold. His hands are not as strong as they might be, and I think the attachment came off. It's one of them things. He did absolutely nothing wrong. The horse did nothing wrong. The team did nothing wrong. Just a freak accident, let's call it. But what he, to still finish and do what he did. Credit, man. Credit.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I think for me, I agree with that one. I think the disappointment for me personally, and I say this is because he's a mate of mine basically, was when Rodolfo's horse spooked slightly in the freestyle, which knocked him out of the doors there, took him down to 5th in the freestyle. I had big hopes for Rodolfo going in to that competition for a medal, and it was just you could where we stood in our little medium mixed zone bit, looked out over the warm-up arena. So I was talking to one of the riders that had just come out of the arena, and you could see Rodolfo warming up, and it was quite clear that the horse was Don Henrico was a bit on edge and a bit feisty and a bit hot. And then I went up to the stand to watch Rodolfo's performance, and there was a couple of times, I think it was at K, where you could see the horse get really tense about something. And I guess it's horses, so there might have been a random leaf or a fly or moth.
Yeah. He had no problem with the judges' boxes or the arena or the seats.
Or the cameras or anything.
That leaf.
A moth. Yeah, exactly. So, so that was from a personal point of view, because he's, kind of as one of my mates. Yeah. That was quite disappointing. And again, Michael. I was also really sad for Rebecca Hart. The games just didn't, she was thrilled with the bronze medal she got in the team, her first ever Paralympic medal, but it obviously something happened in the individual, and she ended up well down the table. I don't think she even qualified for the freestyle. So that was I was a bit gutted for her. I didn't quite see what happened, but I was very gutted for her that didn't work out for her, but happy ending that she got a medal. So that's our negative Nelly moment. But what about your highlights? What was the kind of I think I know what you might say here, but what was the standout for you in that 5 days?
I think I'm going to surprise you.
Oh, right. Okay. So not Team GB winning.
Well, obviously that's a close. It's up there, and my 2 standout moments is between that. Georgia Wilson.
Yeah, of course.
Where did that come from?
That
was amazing. Her getting her 2 bronzes at her first games on a horse that wouldn't have been her first choice. Yeah. And also, she was the reserve rider coming in, and I know you're told to prepare as if you're going, but do you really expect it? And I know it's an equestrian sport, anything can happen. To get the call up so late on a second horse, to go there and do what she did, that for me was my standout moment that I didn't expect. I mean, the Team GB getting the team gold, I didn't expect that either. But I think George's test and what she did give more of an impression on me than GB getting the team gold, if I'm honest.
No, that's perfectly, yeah. I mean, she was one of the stories of the competition for all of the reasons that you've just said. I think for me personally, with my more global view, not that your mention of George is biased at all, but because it is a brilliant story. No, for me, looking at the sport globally, what was being built up going into it, I just think the closeness of the team competition, the fact that, you know, there was a moment when we thought that the Netherlands had actually done it, and then scores were recalculated, and Sophie Wells had got an extra couple of marks, and, you know, and the fact that the overall team competition, which is normally, you know, 20 points will separate a team.
Yeah, I think in Rio it was 20%. The closest it's been other than that is when the Dutch won the European team, and I think there was 6% in it.
Points. Yeah, that was 6 whole points.
This was 0.65%. There's probably 3 marks, if that, in it. So close. So. And what a great competition. You know, obviously I am biased. I was on the British team. The guys that went out there, they're my friends. Of course I want them to win. But in terms of looking at it as a competition, from a spectator point of view, that was wicked. That was so good. And obviously I'm pleased that my friends, my former teammates did it. My heart did break a little bit for the Dutch team. Not enough to take away my celebrations with my mates, but you know, I don't mean that nastily. The Dutch team are great. They're a great bunch of people. They're lovely. But yeah, it was. We touched upon it at the start. The standard of competition was so good. Like that tight knit. You know, a couple of marks. Every single movement in each one of those 3 riders' tests mattered.
And I think we might as well cover the team test now, but I think one of the interesting things, when we spoke before, you mentioned about how, you know, with no disrespect to Rebecca Hart and Kate Shoemaker, but how much of the team USA's performance in the team test would depend on Roxanne, because Roxanne can get 86, 87, 88 in a test like that. And, you know, 2 days before in the grade 1 individual, she'd broken Sophie Christensen's Paralympic record with, I think, an 87-ish or so. It's certainly 86.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Thereabouts. On the night of her performance, of Roxanne's ride in the team test, there was a block of flats outside the arena, and the top floor flat was on fire. And, you know, I was up on the stand looking at this thing. There was smoke bellowing out. There were fire engines coming. You could see flames coming out of this building. It wasn't a deadly serious. You know, I don't think anyone was injured, but it was a big fire. And that was all going on while Roxanne was doing her test. And there were sirens going. It looked at one point like the smoke might blow across the arena. And I was thinking, oh, I wonder if they're going to call a halt to it. But she just ploughed on through, and she got 80 point something. Yeah, I think it was 80.2 or something.
I think.
Yeah, and I just remember thinking at the time, you know, that does open it up, because I remember what you said. It was relying on that big score that she could produce, and as it turned out, I think they ended up about 6 or 7 points behind the winning score. The winning score was 229.x, and I think they were on 222.
Yeah, I think that is probably the only prediction that I got right.
No, we went. No,
did I get a couple more?
Actually, we'll go on to that. We'll have a whiz through. So you're going to have to excuse my bits of paper, but I've
got my notebook out.
Get your notebook out, because we're going to score. So I'm going to score you, and you're going to score me.
Yeah.
Which opens this up to a massive amount of cheating. But anyway.
You're getting zeros for everything, mate.
I think that we give, well, I'll leave it to you, whether we go have 5 points or whatever.
Should we do it out of 5? 5 points per.
Actually, that's a good idea. Yeah, out of 5. So let's start with grade 1.
0. Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
So we'll start with grade 1. You said, and we were kind of just doing who our top 3 would be. On a couple of grades, we were allowed to add in maybe a couple of others. So I think that we should bear in mind, this is very important, particularly for me.
Let's get the rules.
Bear in mind whose names were mentioned in our kind of, but also don't forget so and so.
See, I can't help but
play.
think you're setting yourself up for bigger marks here, mate. I can't
that
help.
that does come into play. Anyway, look. So grade 1, this was won by Roxanne was gold, Reinhard Snickers was silver, and Sara Morganti from Italy was bronze across the board. So both freestyle and individual. Your picks for grade 1 were Roxanne to win, and we both agreed that. You had Michael Murphy in silver.
Yeah. Don't drop your rain, Mike, when I've got a beer on it. You're playing out, mate.
You had Sophie Christensen. Obviously, we recorded that episode before Sophie unfortunately pulled out. And you mentioned Laurentia.
Yeah.
Tan from Singapore. And I had Roxanne for gold. I had Sara Morganti on the podium. And I had Michael on the podium. However, I did also mention
here we go.
Jens,
extra marks.
And look, Reinhard Snickers.
Funny that.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to mark you. Did you say out of 5?
Yeah.
It's a bit like come dine with me and stuff, isn't it? I'm going to give you 2.5.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because you did mention Laurentia. Sophie would have been up there had she got there if the horse hadn't been slightly injured. You did mention Laurentia, who was I think 4th or 5th. So I think that's a fair. I'd just like to say Reinhard Snickers again there.
Well, I've got to give credit where it's due. You did do all right there, I guess. So I'm going to give you a big fat 4.
A big fat 4. Excellent.
Big fat 4. I think you deserve that, mate.
And I will give you a respectful 2.5.
Appreciate it. It's all love. It's all love.
So I've got 4 and you've got 2.5. Okay, so grade 2. Now this is where you had Lee Pearson to do the double. So you had Lee for individual and gold with Peppo in second, but you couldn't put your finger on a 3rd place.
Yep.
I had gold and silver split between Lee and Peppo. I thought that Lee would win 1 and Peppo would win 1. I also put Team USA's Beatrice de Lavalette in the mix. We mentioned Rixt, but we never actually committed to Rixt being on the podium. Rixt got bronze in both.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting my Rixt confused.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not Rixt, is it? Rixt grade 3.
Yeah.
It's a good job I know what I'm on about, isn't it, mate, on your podcast?
It is, isn't it? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong piece of paper. Georgia, of course. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong piece of paper.
Yeah.
I've had a really bad cold.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. Have a sip of your coffee. Let's wake up a little bit. Let's have a little sip.
Yeah. So we both, neither of us, because we didn't know about Georgia. So anyway, so if we're doing it out of 5, sorry, and forgetting Lee doing the double, it's a
4. Yeah.
A 4 for you.
What can I? But so you got it split.
Yeah.
You got it split, so you weren't far. I'm gonna give you a 3, mate.
A 3.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit generous.
It is, but I'll take it.
It is generous, but you still got 1 and 2. Was it the wrong way round? Yeah. Can I change that now? Can I drop you half?
No.
Oh, well, you're only getting 1 for the next one, regardless, mate.
So grade 3, obviously, again, this was one where results were straight across the board. So Tobias Thorning-Jurgensen from Denmark came first. Natasha Baker from Great Britain came second in both. And Rixt van der Horst from the Netherlands came bronze in both. In terms of our predictions, you had Natasha in gold for both. You had Tobias in silver for both. And you had a punt on Emma Booth from Australia for a medal. That happened. I had Tash.
Oh, here we go.
No. I had Tash in first and Tobias in second, because we had a long chat about the impact of the year off and Natasha's experience at games, and it was Tobias's first games and all that kind of thing.
I'd remembered that wrong in my head. I thought you had Tobias first for that. I'd remembered that wrong.
I agree with you that we both put Tash first. Tobias second. I had Rixt in bronze. Just putting that out there. So I think that, don't worry, you do catch up hugely. So I think from a scores point of view, you got Tash and Tobias. I'll do a 3.
You'll do a 3. Well, if I'm on a 3 for that, you did get the extra little bit, didn't you? So I as much as I don't want to, mate. 4.
4.
Yeah, you got. If you give me a 3, I've got to give you at least one more over that, haven't I?
Well, fair enough. That's good. So grade 4. This was a bit more. This was a little bit more mixed up. We had Sana from the Netherlands in first place for both free and individual.
Can I just interject there, talking about her, because we mentioned her heartbreak in the games, and I should have mentioned she was absolutely on for the triple.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a heartbreak for me, because I think that would have been great for her, and she rode out of her skin. So I just wanted to touch on that. Fair play to her. Good that it didn't come off for her. Sorry, I've been.
No, I agree. She was. It was quite inspiring watching Sana at the ride. I've got a beautiful picture. I might put it on the website. I've got this gorgeous picture taken right from the top of the stand of her doing a warm-up one night. I think it was on the Wednesday night before the competition started. It's just this really lovely picture of this beautiful arena, and then this little orange dot on a horse kind of right in the middle of the frame. It's lovely. But no, Sana is, I mean, her and Dementa are just, there's just something about them. It's almost, and she talked after that freestyle about it. She couldn't quite find the words because obviously we wanted her to speak in English, but you could get a sense that she was almost like a trance type thing.
Yeah.
She was describing how when she got into the arena, it was almost like everything just floated away and it was just her and this horse doing this beautiful dance, this beautiful music from Haven. It was really something to watch, and to have missed out on the triple, which, you know, is more important to us as commentators than it is to a rider. She didn't go in thinking I've got to get the triple. But to miss out by 0.65 of 1%.
And I think what must have been hard for her as well, she knew what score she had to get going in there, but during the test, Sophie's score had changed. So when she came out, she'd hit the target that she was originally set. And there must have been that moment of elation. How could you not? You know, you've just got your individual, you just got you think you've got the team gold, and that must have been really hard. Hard to deal with, but fair play to her. She did great.
She's phenomenal. I think it was her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So she got both the golds, so she's now got that set across all European, World and Paralympic. Rodolfo got the silver in the individual, and Louise Etzner Jacobsen got the silver in the freestyle, and then Belgium's Manon Clays got the 2 bronzes. That was actually, sorry, going way off track now, but that was another moment. So when Rodolfo came out after his test, so when Rodolfo went in, I think he might have been the last rider in, but Manon was currently in bronze.
Okay.
So obviously she was then expecting Rodolfo to knock her down into 4th.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So the yelp from her when Rodolfo's team score and she burst into tears. You know, she's got double bronze at her first games. All that kind of thing was just really lovely. And then, but also what was really lovely is that Manon and Rodolfo are great mates as well. So they had this really, I just was listening in, not quite stalkery, but they were over there and I could hear what they were saying. And, you know, she was basically saying to him, I don't know, I didn't expect that to happen. I was just watching, I was waiting for you to knock me into 4th place, basically. And it was just this really lovely moment that the sport brings us. So, anyway,
and isn't it nice that we're having to keep going off topic here to talk about different moments? We've already spoke about moments that we think, and then, oh no, there's this, oh no, there's that. No, just totally. Incredible.
It's one of the real joys of what I'm lucky enough to do is to witness moments like that. You know, I don't. We've gone way off track now. I don't get to see a lot of what happens at the games because I'm writing or rushing around and getting a quote from someone and then going back and writing it up or answering someone else's question and all that kind of stuff. But when you get to see those little moments, It is lovely. So anyway, but back to grade 4. So both of us had Sana, although you take the edge on me here because I had Rodolfo winning the individual and Sana winning the freestyle. You had Sana locked in for both. You had Rodolfo locked in for both the silvers. You had Kate Shoemaker from the USA in bronze, again agonizingly close for Kate.
Heartbreaking, yeah.
And really, you know, a real shame for her. And then, but neither of us really mentioned. I mentioned Louise Etzner-Jacobsen, but really in passing, not as a. I think she'll do it. Just in passing. So I will give, on the basis that you had gold and silver correct both times.
It's got to be a 4, hasn't it? It's got to be me.
Yeah, it has got to be. A 4.
Yeah. So I am gonna. The thing is, what I want to do now, because I wanted to change my one before for the same scenario, didn't I? So I'm going to give you.
Oh yeah, it's going to be down a bit, isn't it?
2.5.
5.
You're still smashing me, mate. You're still smashing me.
Do you know what? Well, I'm not going to say.
I've already got it written down, mate. I know.
Yeah. So, but one other thing on Louise Etzner-Jacobsen. You know, I mean, she's brilliant. Love her. She did medal in Rio. She was one of the oldest competitors. But the brilliant thing about Louise is that in the summer of this year, she fell off her bike and broke her leg. And it was in plaster. And she was telling us afterwards that she'd actually said to her doctor, I don't care what you have to do, but this cast has to be off by the time that they went to, is it Aachen for the quarantine?
Quality.
And she literally was like, when they were in quarantine in Aachen, that was the first time she rode her horse before Tokyo, having had this accident. So basically she'd broken her leg in the summer, comes back, gets back on a horse, wins a silver medal in freestyle. I mean, it's just...
What amazing confidence the team,
their
management, the selectors had in her, and fair play to them for taking the risk, because it would have been very easy for them to substitute at that point. And
totally.
Absolute credit where it's due, man. They made the right decision there.
Yeah. So, excellent. So let's go for grade 5. So this was obviously Michelle Georges won both the individual and the freestyle. Frank Hosmar was second in the freestyle, third in the individual. Sophie Wells was she was second in the individual, didn't place on the podium in the freestyle, with Germany's Regine Misfeldkamp taking the bronze in the freestyle. So that was the slightly swapped. That was the more varied of the podiums in the competition. In terms of our predictions, we both had Sophie Wells in gold.
We did, but if you think back, that was when she was on George.
That's true. Oh, yes, that's true. Of course. Yeah.
So actually, if you look at the predictions, we both said if she's on George, this. If she's not,
it was more even between Michelle and Frank, wasn't it?
Yep.
And it was really close between Michelle and Frank as well. I mean, it was Frank went in before Michelle, scored over 80. I think he was on 80.2-ish or something.
Yeah.
And then Michelle came out on. And you know, I'm huge fans of both of them. Had everything crossed for Frank to finally get a gold medal at Paralympics, and then Michelle's score came up with 80.5 or something. It was like, I mean, brilliant for her. It was an amazing thing. And then I was just one of those real drama, sport at its highest, emotional, you know, all of that kind of thing. I think Frank was, you know, obviously in the moment, probably gutted. But I've seen on Facebook since that they've redone all the signs for the village where he lives in the Netherlands. And they've changed it from something like Parma or something to Hosmarville.
Hosmarville, brilliant.
It's just brilliant. I mean, even if it's only for this weekend or whatever, I mean, it's just so brilliant, that recognition that he so brilliantly deserves. It was just one of those real pure moments of sport. Anyway, I think across the board, So we both had Sophie in first place, but like you say, with on George, See Fatal Attraction, we both had Frank in second, and we both had Michelle in first. I think we're pretty much. We got to be three each for that.
Got to be a three there. Yeah, I agree.
We'll make it. We'll make it official. Hang on.
But going back to surprises. We thought Sophie not on George.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be as half as competitive as she was, and Soph, you did amazing, mate. And the horse, incredible. But yeah, so it's all official. 3.
It's a 3. Yeah, they after that team competition, when Team GB came by and spoke to us, what was so funny was their genuine disbelief, but making the point that, with the exception of Breezer, Lee's horse, who's still young and still relatively inexperienced, but the other 3, Lottie, Sakura, and Donkara, they were like, they've never really been out of the country, never really been in a championship environment. They were literally just there. Their sole purpose of going to Tokyo was to prepare for Paris. Yeah. They weren't expecting anything, maybe a bronze if they were lucky. And
we said that, and that was absolutely mirrored with the chats I had with the riders. And also, a lot of the media over here has been going on, GB are undefeated at the Paralympics. And that's true. But if you look at the majors over the last 4 years, they didn't win WEG. They didn't win the Europeans. They were absolutely not tipped for the gold here. Yeah. No, none of them expected it. And they're not just saying that to make themselves look humble. They genuinely didn't expect it.
I just remember there's a bit where they're lining up before the medal ceremony. So you had the Netherlands at the front of the queue, because on the podium they're on that side, and you have Team GB in the middle and Team USA behind them in the queue to go out into the arena. And that queue formed quite near the media mix zone. And we're all, and taking pictures and trying to get a selfie and all that kind of stuff. And I remember catching, it was either Lee or Natasha's eye. So and whoever, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Lee, but he just literally just looked at me and went, that wasn't meant to happen.
Definitely would have been Lee.
They were so shocked. And
well, they FaceTimed me during that walk you're on about, where they're all going up to the podium. They give me a FaceTime, and I was chatting to them, and they absolutely couldn't believe. They were just so caught up in the moment. It meant so much to them, and it was really nice to get that call during that time. It was lovely, and they were so happy.
No, it was brilliant. So let's do the team.
Yep.
So we both had Team USA in gold. I had the Netherlands silver and Great Britain bronze. We did both say at the same time. We both said USA. We talked about Great Britain and the Netherlands. You, however, then said, you know what? I'm going Team GB for gold.
Yep.
So on the basis of that, I think that I'm going to give you a 4.
Thanks. Very much.
And therefore, I don't think I would, well, anyway, you give me my score, but I think you've just won this.
Wow. So you had the Americans winning.
Yep. I had the Netherlands in silver and GB in third.
I'm going to have to give you a 2, mate.
See, I thought it'd be closer than that, but anyway.
Honestly, I just want to win.
And you have.
I will take a cheap victory over a great loss any day.
Absolutely,
mate.
Fair enough. So you've won. You've got 20 points. Yeah. Don't rub it in. You've got 20 points to my 18.5. So I think what we take from that is that, like, clearly you are
a bad judge.
I'm a dressage master, and I still have a way to go. No, I think that we were pretty much even Stevens through that whole thing, but congratulations.
No, thank you. Actually, while we're saying thank yous, I do want to give you a thank you on your podcast for keeping me up to date on the action. You were my legs on the ground out there while I was in the studio, and I probably did your head in with all the texts and phone calls and emails, but you were really helpful. Excellent. And another thing before we go that I wanted to touch upon, and there was a lot of negative press around certain equestrian events at the able-bodied Olympics, with the modern pentathlon, etc. And I just want to say how wonderful it was to see every single rider making big fusses of the horses coming out. Some of the riders didn't complete all of the tests they wanted to because of welfare issues. Some of the riders didn't even compete. They pulled out, they swapped horses, they didn't go to selection trials. Just to highlight that bad press is an absolute minority in this sport. These horses are loved, they're well cared for, and there is no place for that in equestrian sport. And what our guys did, well, I say our guys, the para riders worldwide, to show that love for the animals, because let's be honest, they're the most important thing. I thought that's really, really good to see.
Absolutely. I mean, I always find that whenever I work at an event like this, I'll be perfectly honest, sometimes I find it a little bit frustrating. Because, you know, I'll ask a question, how did you get on? You know, how do you feel? And the first thing that the riders talk about is their horse.
Yeah.
And I kind of think, yeah, but what about you? I know the horse is important, and I know it's a partnership, but what about you? You know, I want to talk about you. And they're like, they don't want to, they want to talk about your horse all the time, which is, I get.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It is always really, and the thing that always, I mean, I get a little bit emotional about this because I'm such a wuss, but the thing that I really loved in Tokyo as well was when they did the medal ceremonies and they had the horses lined up behind, which is quite common.
Yeah.
But because of the positioning of the podium and all that kind of stuff, you could really get that sense every time after they finish the medals, they give the medals out, they do the pictures. And then there was always a moment where every single rider would turn around and look at their horse. And that was always just, I always find that bit really moving because it's that acknowledgement of the partnership, of the genuine love and affection between the horses. I mean, some of those riders, when they talk about their horses, you know, the way Sana talks about Demi, the way Lee talks about Breezer and all these horses. You know, Michelle George loves her animals. The way she talks about it, her face lights up when she's talking about her horses. Tobias loves Jolene. They genuinely, there's such affection. And you get that for every single rider. The other really good piece of news I saw from the FEI is that both across Olympic and Paralympic, they've confirmed that there were 0 drug issues with riders and horses. Every single test completed was negative. So it just goes to show the quality of the sport. You know, it was magical. And now we look forward to earning in less than a year's time for the World Championships.
Absolutely.
And then before we know it, we'll do a Europeans, and then it'll be Paris.
Paris again. And just on that subject of the partnership, you can't read it out, I've got a quote under my arm from when I was riding. It says, "He lends me his legs and we take on the world." And I think that is, like, I know it's a bit corny, a bit cliche, a bit of a metaphor, but it really is. You know, these horses lend us their legs, and even more for the paras, they lend us legs, and we're able to do so much. And as corny as it is, I love that saying, and it's lovely to see that between the horse and rider.
Yeah, excellent. Well, on that note, we shall leave it there. Very quickly, how's your comedy career going?
Busy.
Yeah,
busy. It's really good. Yeah, I've got a nice little trial spot at a pro club tomorrow.
Excellent.
Loads of bookings coming in, and I think I'm booked now till next February, which is great news.
Amazing.
Yeah, really enjoying it. Lots of stuff in the pipeline that I'm not allowed to talk about yet.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll keep an ear out for that. Listen, thanks ever so much for joining us, and thanks for your support over Tokyo.
Thank you.
For the brilliant work on Channel 4. And congratulations on your well-earned victory. And
well done on your silver, mate.
Well, that's true. I'll look at it later.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Great stuff. So thanks everyone for listening. Thanks, Vicky, for joining us. And we will see you again next time. Bye for now.
See you later.